shooting at Austin's Magnet High School with multiple victims, including a Knoxville police officer.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Resistance. Just got updating news that there's been a school shooting in Knoxville, Tennessee. Trying to find out what's going on now as far as the details.
There was much more of an urgency when I first arrived here. Pulling up on scene, still officers trying to evaluate the situation, establish a rough perimeter, kind of where we see it right now. Initially, the Knoxville Police Department asked or gave indications that the immediate area would be set up probably half a mile from here. That's since changed to where we're standing right now on this side of this high school here. But a lot more urgency and emergency response when I first arrived here, right around 3:30, 3:15, 3:30 this afternoon. Since then, a more orderly area as the situation appears to be under control. The superintendent saying,
"Can I get an audio check, please? Can I get a 1 for good audio, 2 for bad audio?"
Pass. I'm watching just out the corner of my eye as more vehicles come through. But as you said, Robin, for folks who've been watching with us for the hour and a half or so that I've been out here, you can tell that the emergency, the urgency of the initial response when I first pulled up, we were working to get more information in the live camera out to you folks on that.
Thanks for everybody who gave me that good audio check. I'm sorry for the person who said they can't hear. Maybe you need to check your settings. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. We got a school shooting in Knoxville, Tennessee, ladies and gentlemen. I just found out about it. I came to bring it to y'all. Let's hear it together. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Lake Speed and Lisa Speed. What's going on? HPR News, KP Nation, Jerry Van Hoof, Luke Weymouth, UK, my man, Tim Irvin, Tommy Larson, Donna Dusa, appreciate you, Cat PI, Tommy Larson, Kendall Moss, appreciate y'all. Let's get back into to find out what's going on.
Come down some, at least from where we're standing right
now. Mike Jones, the life of Geo, appreciate y'all. He's being asked questions right now. We can't hear that questions that's being asked.
I'm still saying the same. Last kind of couple hours, take a look behind me. I just thought they just stepped out of our frame of reference, frame of vision here, but two detectives apparently with the police department leaving the scene here, walking away from Austin. Still some cruisers heading towards the school as the perimeter appears to be collapsing a little bit around the school. When we first pulled up, as I was just driving up.
This is live right now, ladies and gentlemen, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Pulling up on the side of the road, kind of anywhere that could get a place to park and respond to this scene from all across Knox County, they did. Now, as the situation, as the superintendent says, has been secured, the perimeter appears to be shrinking some, and hopefully we'll be able to get up closer to the school in just a few moments or so. But you can see there the situation continuing to change here at Austin High School. As Knoxville Police, the Sheriff's Office, Fire Department, ambulance crews, and school security respond to reports.
1 second, I'm going to see if I can get a better feed for y'all. All right, so we have no volume here as of yet, but to remind everybody, this is in Knoxville, Tennessee. This is a school shooting. There are victims who have been shot. I believe some of them, and I'm not sure, but I believe some of them are kids. There's no volume on this feed. Let me see if I can find another one.
several of
Give me 1 second. Knoxville, Tennessee, ladies and gentlemen.
a map of where this high school is located in relation to Knoxville. So we can all show that to you as well. Before I do that, I do have some information about this high school. It's a public high school in Knoxville, operated by Knox County Schools. It does have some history about it too. I was just reading back in 1986, the two schools, which were only some 8 to 10 blocks apart, were combined to form a single racially integrated high school located in the East High building.
Images of Brandy
They named Austin East High School. The Austin school site became the location of Vine Middle School following the merger. Many white students from East High transferred to other high schools, leaving Austin East as a predominantly black school. That was back in 1968. So some history there. In 1997, the school received a magnet school designation, offering a focus in performing arts, science, and math in spite of the magnet program, which was intended to boost the enrollment as of 2008-2009.
So I found some print on the situation, ladies and gentlemen. It says, multiple victims in Tennessee school shooting, police report. Knoxville, Tennessee. Police say multiple people, including an officer, were shot Monday at a high school in the East Tennessee city of Knoxville. The Knoxville Police Department tweeted that authorities were at the scene of the shooting at Austin East Magnet High School. The online posting said a Knoxville Police Department officer was reported among the victims. Police urged people to avoid the area. Details remain sketchy, and news outlets show numerous police and emergency vehicles at the scene. And that's all we got, ladies and gentlemen, because this just happened within the past half hour, maybe 35 to 40 minutes. Let me see.
Got Knoxville in the downtown section right here. So we're on the northeast side. Let's bring it back full right here on News Now from Fox. Very nice. Looks like that. That shot was frozen there for a second, but officer just wasn't moving.
So I have more print on it. It says there are multiple gunshot victims. Of course, the investigation remains active at this time. Anybody in the Knoxville area, the police are warning you to avoid this area. The superintendent for Knox County Schools says the school building has been secured and students who were not involved in the shooting have been released to their families. No other information has been provided. Multiple agencies are on the scene of a shooting at Austin East Magnet High School. Multiple gunshot victims reported, including a KPD officer. An investigation remains active at this time. All Knoxville people, please avoid the area.
Behind Austin East High School near Wilson and Henbury there, though. So that's the latest update from the Knoxville Police Department, putting that out a little bit ago. And that's where families can come and hopefully find their loved one and bring them back home when everything has been cleared at the high school.
It's a very psychological thing that's happening here.
Appreciate all our viewers here around the country and around the world as we bring you this breaking news out of Knoxville, Tennessee, everyone. Such an ironic moment before the Knoxville Police Department, just an hour before the Knoxville Police Department put out this breaking news of this high school shooting. They put out a tweet saying that there's no better place to live and serve than Knoxville, and there's still time to apply and join the police department there. So they were doing some recruiting on their Twitter page, and then just an hour later have to announce the very sad news here of multiple gunshot victims being reported. Also, an officer involved in the mix here as well. Still no updates there on if there are any deaths associated with this shooting. How is the condition?
So he said within the mix are gunshot victims, and the police officer is definitely one of them. But he hasn't mentioned if the gunshot victims are teachers or students. So we're still trying to find out that information.
I wonder, in these types of situations, is it just the one shooter? Or could there have been a multiple? So you got to go through those and really check to see what is happening there, because we've seen instances, unfortunately, where there has been multiple shooters. An easy one to remember is Columbine, and that did not end well at all there, as there were just multiple victims on the scene there. So you really got to, just because you think, okay, maybe a shooter is down and neutralized, you don't know if there could be another one in that building somewhere trying to do harm as well. So that is where
and as the reporter was stating, he was saying that the reason why there's so much presence of police around, even after the situation has been stabilized, he's saying that there could be another shooter around as well. So we'll stay tuned for that.
Law enforcement plays other places, and what they found is you hear the shots, you got to go in. They were doing a lot of staging at Columbine, and they didn't go in for a good portion of the time when this was all unraveling. So after that, they did some studies and found out when you do have an active shooter, you got to go to where you are hearing the shots being fired and try as fast as you can to neutralize that suspect or suspects, because any moment that you don't do that, that you are just giving them free range to do and commit just horrendous things. So that's one thing that really came out big from Columbine after they sat back and saw what was happening, but did not respond right away. So here's another shot that we have here available to us right now. Not much. This photographer is doing the best they can. Obviously, they can't roam around right now. They're probably
to everybody that's just joined the stream, I want to give a shout out to David Cheney, E Powers, Irie Z, The Medusa, Rick the Ripper, Amber Frost, Spitfire. I see y'all. Appreciate y'all. DG1, Lion 1, Web MDMA. What's going on? I appreciate y'all. We got a situation in Knoxville, Tennessee. We have a couple shooting victims. One of the shooting victims is a police officer, a Knoxville police officer. We are not sure if the rest of the shooting victims are students or teachers. So we're trying to stay tuned for that to find out what's going on. I appreciate all y'all that's rocking out. Dragon ET, I see you. Harvester of the Sorrow, what's going on? Doug, be good, bud. What's up, bro? Spooky Press on free. I appreciate all y'all. Mike Jones, the life of Gio. Let's go. Let's see what's going on with this.
Okay, so we are hearing some good details coming out. We were thinking about that when we were just seeing the body language of the police. So a lot of the police members that first rushed to the scene, they're actually now getting out of that area because the active threat is over. That's the big news, and that's something that we got to report right away here and to let you know, okay, active threat is over. That's the best news. Now we got to wait and hear from the investigators about what's happening there and what all went down at this high school here. So that's a good sign right there. We're hoping that they're just, or one is too many when you're talking about somebody this is just because of a shooting at a high school here. So we are going to wait in here if they're going to be setting up some sort of news conference. We're going to stay on with you as long as we possibly can or have the shot available to us right here. Always providing you the details that's happening in real time. One of the great things about here on News Now from Fox, when we get a certain event or a breaking news situation, we'll just stay on it and try to give you the details as they're coming in real time. Some of you have seen our coverage in the past. Well, obviously, when we're on a police chase, we'll just stay on that and provide the updates that we can.
More information from the school district as well about what happened and what the condition of the folks here are. This community has suffered a lot of gun violence in Austin specifically. We've been covering it for months now. This not necessarily related to that. We're still working to get more information, but a community that's really hurting and now waiting.
So if you're just joining us here, everyone, the active threat is now over. That's what we were seeing with a lot of the body language from the people just around this scene right here. It was very calm. Now the investigation will happen. The only thing that we don't like to have to report, but boy, we are going to do it when we have to, is the police did say multiple gunshot victims being reported there. Now, obviously, when they're just getting to the scene, they don't know the whole extent for it. So we're hoping sometimes those numbers are first reported high and then can maybe go down. That's what we're hoping for this situation here right now. And just keep
Knoxville, Tennessee, ladies and gentlemen, school shooting. Knoxville police officer is involved in the shooting. He's a shooting victim. There are several other shooting victims. We do not know if they are children or adults at this time, but it has happened at a high school.
40 minutes to get a feed in from Knoxville. And once we did, we decided we got two streams going. Well, let's roll with it. Let's go live and give the updates that are happening in real time. Best news is that the active threat is over. We don't know what happened to the suspect, who the suspect was. Was it a student? Was it somebody that came in and tried to rush the high school? A lot of questions right now. Did the officer neutralize the suspect, or did the suspect turn that gun on him or herself here? So got a lot of questions. Was it just one shooter? So many different variables, obviously, in a school.
So with the lack of information, ladies and gentlemen, we can tell that the situation is fresh. Like I told you all a few minutes earlier, maybe about 40 to 45 minutes, probably not even an hour yet that this has just happened. So they don't have any information on who the perpetrator was. They're still trying to gather that information. Y'all might want to stay tuned on the Resistance channel to find out that information. I appreciate all of y'all in the stream, man. Homie the Man, News Nebraska, Mr. Buddy Wolf Guy, Spitfire, E Powers, Don Illuminati. I appreciate y'all.
That was the case, boy. That would be something terribly, terribly bad. But like I said earlier, just having one person shot is bad enough. But we thank all our new viewers for continuing to come in. We're seeing the stream continue its growth right here. So let me just reset right here for some of our new viewers.
Shout outs to Wake Up America.
7 out on the East Coast here, Knoxville, Tennessee, on the Eastern time, and just wanted to bring that to you. Multiple people shot, including an officer here.
It's a very psychological thing that's happening here.
To us.
It's a very psychological thing that's happening here.
Folks, okay, this is new. This is new. We are getting the aerials right here.
Aerial shots, y'all.
Okay, so let's see what we have right here. We're getting these aerials right now fresh to us. Let's see what we could make out right here. There we go. You see the rush of ambulances, all the first responders there as well at this high school. This is Austin East Magnet High School right now. The active threat is over, but now we're just waiting on a news conference. News conference would be great at this moment. Okay, we just did lose Scott Fox right there, but now we have the shot that we've been picking for you for the last. Okay, we did lose that one. So here's the situation, everybody. We'll just wait and see if we can get any more updates right here. This is a live look right now in Knoxville, not close to the actual high school, but just wanted to give you that vantage point right there. So I'm your host, Mike Page. Thanks so much for joining us here on News Now from Fox. Once again, we are talking about, unfortunately, another school shooting, this time happening at a high school in the northeast side of Knoxville, Tennessee. We don't know the condition of the officer that was shot or the multiple victims at this moment. We don't know if they were just gunshot victims or, unfortunately, were they deaths? Was this faculty members or was this all students? And who was the shooter? So a lot of questions remain at this time, and we're going to wait and see if we can get a police update. Hopefully that they are staging for one currently right now. This comes on really just the heels of a very busy day here on the News Now. That's always offering the latest live reports and live updates as they are happening in real time. We were having the Derek Chauvin trial for much of the day, and we still have the other breaking news from Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, that happened last night, and it looks like there's going to be more activity there. That situation where an officer fired at a suspect, and that suspect did die, and the police chief today said that it looks like the officer wanted to use the taser but did not. So there is going to be some protest. We hope that they just remain protest there tonight. But of course, we'll have full coverage for you on News Now from Fox, everybody. We continue to wait, all right, here for seeing if we could get any more.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the shooting happened in Knoxville, Tennessee, Austin East High School. A little aerial view of the situation. We're going to tune back into the live footage as soon as they get more coverage on it. So this is the perimeter of the school, and this whole area is locked down. I still have the audio to one of the feeds that's covering the shooting. If you guys are wondering what that distinct noise is in the background. So while they were on pause, all we know is that a police officer has been shot. We don't know what the condition the police officer is in. There are other shooting victims. We don't know who they are as of now. I'm going to try to see if I can find anything else that's covering it. Give me 1 second while try to find something else. Another feed that's covering this shooting.
All right, that is Mayor India Kincannon. We're hearing from her. Obviously, she's at UT Medical Center. This is interesting, and this is good news. Folks wondering about the condition of the Knoxville police officer shot at Austin East High School. Mayor India Kincannon giving us a reason to breathe a sigh of relief at this hour. She says that she just met with the Knoxville police officer and that he is conscious and in good spirits.
I'm coming back.
And when you are live, if you can hear us, so give us just a second here. Basically, Mayor India Kincannon saying that the officer that she just met with, who was shot at Austin East High School, is in good spirits, is conscious, and that he is there being treated. And he is with his wife. The mayor says she met with both of them. And that the officer says, look, I'm glad that it was me, that I could be the one there to do what I needed to do to keep students safe and protect students. So that's the good news. We are hearing that this Knoxville police officer who was shot at Austin East High School is okay, conscious, alert, in good spirits, happy that he was the one that could be there to take the hit and protect students at the high school. That is coming from Mayor India Kincannon. So that kind of confirms what we had been suspecting, that the officer was not gravely injured based on the police presence or lack of police presence that we were seeing at the hospital. So that is the good news coming from the mayor.
Shout outs to Renetta Williams.
This situation, Gwendolyn Dupree has been talking with police officers on the scene at Austin East High School and witnesses to this situation and people who live in the area. Gwen, give us a feel for what you've learned within the last 10 minutes, because it's been a few minutes since we've talked to you.
Yeah, I apologize about that. I was speaking with a woman saying that she's a parent of a student here, telling me that she has not been able to get in contact with her daughter. She says that she's waiting by to see if her daughter, who is a student here at Austin East, will answer the phone. I asked her, I couldn't imagine what's going on in your mind right now, but if you could, tell me, what are you thinking? And she said, you know what, I'm just keeping faith right now. That's all I know how to do, and that's what I'm going to do. I love this community. I love this school. My daughter is supposed to graduate, go to prom here, and that's what she's going to do. And so that's what that mother was telling me, although she says she has not been able to get in contact with her daughter who was here at Austin East today for school. I did also speak with some folks who were standing by around this time, telling me that, this is what happens. They're used to violence in this area, but they never can get used to it being affecting children. That's a lot of what you hear anytime we're having to get in front of this camera and talk to you about the gun violence that is affecting these students. It should not happen, especially not to children. I'm still trying to confirm. I've been hearing a little bit about what you've been confirming here, Amanda. We do know that some folks were saying they heard possible gunshots. Multiple people told me that. I'm waiting to hear that. To be confirmed. I'm still waiting for the public information officer to get here. We're still being told to stand by, and that we'll be getting some additional information, hopefully, when we speak with Amanda.
Okay, and just getting some additional confirmation here on the status of this Knoxville police officer. We just heard Mayor India Kincannon say that he's conscious, alert, and in good spirits. She just met within the last few minutes. Kimberly Glenn with the Knox County Sheriff's Office just texting me and saying, yes, he's in stable condition. So good news on that front. Now we've got to move on to the other people who were shot. They have not been identified. Their conditions have not been discussed. So that's kind of the next phase of this process. Who else was involved with this? When I do want to circle back, I had a question for you about the woman that you just spoke with. She said her daughter is a student at Austin East High School and that she has not been able to get contact with her daughter this afternoon. Does she know for a fact that her daughter is still at the school, or is there a possibility her daughter may have left, doesn't have her phone on, and she just can't make contact?
That's what she's hoping. She did mention, because of all this chaos, she's hoping that she's with a friend right now, and they're just trying to figure out what's going on their children. So she's hoping that she does not die at home right now, but that she's okay. But again, she doesn't know where her daughter is. She's still standing by right now, just trying to figure out. I encourage her to try to go up here and speak with police and let them know that, I'm trying to get in touch with my child. I haven't been able to thus far. But honestly, I think she's just pretty stunned right now and just don't know what to do next.
Okay, so yeah, lots of process out there, Gwen, as you continue to learn more. A couple different scenarios we could be dealing with. Keep in mind, we do know from the Knox County School Superintendent that the building is secure, so we at least know that
of the
that
vehicle,
situation.
as we're continuing to wait an update from the Knoxville Police Department as to what exactly happened here. And we'll continue to work to learn more information. For now, though, I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you guys in the studio.
Cole, we appreciate it. I want to just read word for word what Knoxville Police Scott Erlin says about what's happened at Austin East. Again, it's just coming from the spokesman for Knoxville Police Department. At around 3:15 on Monday, April 12, 2021, multiple law enforcement agencies responded to an officer-involved shooting at Austin East Magnet High School. Based on the preliminary investigation, Knoxville Police Department officers responded to Austin East Magnet High School on the report of a male subject who was possibly armed in the school. Upon approach of the subject, shots were fired. A KPD officer was struck at least one time and transported to UT Medical Center with injuries that are not expected to be life-threatening. One male was pronounced deceased at the scene, while another was detained for further investigation. There are no other known gunshot victims. Per standard protocol, the officer-involved shootings, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation will lead the investigation again. So what we know, an officer hit, injured, but non-life-threatening, and it appears that the suspect was shot and killed.
Parents all gathering outside Austin East waiting for information. Sheenan Lundy says her daughter, an Austin East freshman, is safe. She showed us the text messages with all the information she knows so far. Let's take a look.
3:15, a text message from my daughter. That says it is what I received from her, and I'm still here after school hours are over, fighting for answers to see what about we have.
That from a parent who earlier today was receiving those text messages from her daughter. We do need to take a quick break, but we are continuing to get new information on this scene, this shooting situation that played out earlier today at Austin East High School. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Further questioning, and a Knoxville police officer who was shot but did not suffer life-threatening injuries. Again, I'm going to repeat this to you because this is information just coming into our newsroom that we want to make sure that we share with you accurately and that you hear this because this is a major development in this story. Knoxville police say that they responded to Austin East High School after receiving reports of a male subject armed in the school. As officers approached the subject, shots.
Spitfire, if you don't like the audio, I don't understand why you're still here. You can skip somewhere else.
For further investigation. No other known gunshot victims. So it sounds like two people shot. The person who is dead on the scene and the officer who is expected to survive suffered non-life-threatening injuries. At the scene there, it sounds like we've basically got ourselves an officer-involved shooting, and we've got to understand a little bit more about the situation. Was this male subject who was possibly armed in school a student or somebody else? And so that's going to be the next phase of the investigation and the process of reporting information to you. That's something that we would like to learn as quickly as we can. Erica Lunsford is at University of Tennessee Medical Center where the Knoxville police officer is recovering.
Shout outs to Lamb C. What's up, bro?
And just a few minutes ago that she had met with the officer and his wife, that he's conscious, he's alert, and even in good spirits, going as far as saying that he...
So we got one shot, one dead. We got a suspect that's dead. We got an officer that's shot. He's conscious and in good spirits.
I mean, that's so far I've learned that information that you just shared about the officer, and that is good news in this sad situation. And right now inside the emergency room, it's pretty calm. Not a lot of action going on here, which could be hopefully good news as well. But again, just that officer, we know that he's inside the hospital right now, and he's
doing pretty good talking, and the mayor came and shared that he is, again, in good spirits. So that's all we have right now for information. I'm going to reach out to other officers around the scene and see if they're able to give any more information here. I'm going to also talk to some of the people that might be visiting and see if they have any connection to this officer as well. Walk me through, Erica, what you're seeing on scene there. I imagine we've got officers that
We are
kind of watching
continuing to
who's
follow
going there. But beyond that, do you see much activity, or is this just kind of a typical day in the school center?
This playing out earlier this afternoon at that school. We just got a statement.
Shout outs to Fear Porn.
The Knoxville police officers responded to Austin East on the report of a male subject who was possibly armed in the school. Upon approach of that subject, shots were fired. A KPD officer was struck at least one time and transported to UT Medical Center with injuries that are not expected to be life-threatening. One male was pronounced deceased at the scene, while another was detained for further investigation. There are no other known gunshot victims. That's the latest coming from Knoxville Police.
We know this unfolded at 3:15 with multiple agents.
Talking and in good spirit. So we'll have you continue to monitor the situation out there for us, Erica, and we'll touch base with you here in a few minutes as we continue to learn more about the situation. If we can go back live to the scene where the investigation is unfolding, now it makes sense. We're hearing that the medical examiner is on the scene. We were unclear initially if they had left or if they were called for a specific reason or if it was just an in-case type of situation, but now we're learning that there is an exact reason the medical examiner is there because one man is...
Shout outs Poor Dirt Farmer. What up, bro?
That person was involved, whether it was a student or some other person that would just happen to be in the school. Mickey French with the ATF is a special agent in charge. As you probably heard us report here in the last few minutes, ATF, among many agencies now involved in this investigation. Special Agent French, thank you for joining us.
Yellow Snowman, I have no idea what you're talking about. I rarely time anybody out.
Knoxville Police would be able to do on their own.
Oh, thank you. On any kind of critical incident response, the first thing.
Yellow Snowman, I'm not concerned about my sub count. I do this for passion. I do this from the heart. Not worried about the sub count, bro. Obviously, your focal point is much more different than mine.
We could deploy explosive experts that could render a device safe.
And Special Agent French, we should just pause for a second and make sure it's clear that there's no indication that there was any explosives found, correct?
That's correct. I'm just kind of giving the overall sense. This is what we do when we go out there. We can bring out canines that are explosive detected canines. Those also can be used not only on explosive devices, but also to find cartridge casings, spent cartridge casings, as well as firearms that were used. We have the ability to send out, national.
Shout out Finbar.
And the bottom line is we first want to ensure the public safety. At that point, we would then begin to assist our state and local agencies on any processing of the evidence. So where ATF helps the most is the ability to trace the firearm. And then we can also assist with NIBIN, which is the National Integrated Ballistics Information Network, which is a system designed to place evidence, cartridge casing into a system to see if it links to any other crimes around the country.
So it sounds like
Have a good day, Yellow Snowman.
we've clearly got an officer involved shooting here, identifying whose gunfire hit who in this scenario.
That would be correct.
And how long of a process is that for you typically?
Well, some of it's going to depend on how fast we can get to the evidence. We can do an urgent trace on the gun and get results back within hours. When it comes to the ballistic evidence, the expired cartridge casings, we can enter that into the NIBIN system relatively fast. The turnaround time is generally 24 to 48 hours, but in incidents like this, we would also be sending these to a crime laboratory where the experts can confirm, which casings came from which gun.
And It's part of the reason that the ATF is called in and Knoxville Police doesn't just do the investigation on their own for reasons of transparency. It looks better if you have an outside agency doing the investigation, and there's higher confidence in the results of that investigation if an independent agency is the one doing it.
Well, that is correct, but the vast majority of critical incidents have an overlap of federal and state jurisdictions. So the federal nexus gives the ATF the ability to assist our state and local partners, and simply put, ATF will respond to any significant incident involving firearms, explosives, or arson.
And how many crews or team members do you have, ATF agents? How many ATF agents do you have inside the building right now? And have they given you any indication of what they're seeing inside?
I don't know exactly how many. I know I initially had 3 or 4 special agents out there and a task force officer who's assigned to the Knoxville Police Department. We have an office there in Knoxville. We also have a satellite office in Greenville, Tennessee. So all of our resources responded and are available.
And have they told you what they've seen inside? Is this looking to be a complex situation that will require a long investigation, or something that they may be able to kind of be in and out within the day? Because again, we're talking about a high school, and we're in the beginning of the school week here. I can't imagine if they would go back to school tomorrow, but we do have 5 days left of the week.
Yeah, I don't have any of the specifics on the actual scene and the evidence that's there and how long it might take, but I would imagine that
Austin East High School, ladies and gentlemen, Knoxville, Tennessee, school shooting. 1 suspect dead, 1 police officer shot.
Specifically for where bullets traveled, and does that include, really combing through walls and, the floor, and are they just looking for, I would imagine they need to look and see where the bullets traveled and how they traveled, not just picking them up off the floor and marking the spot.
that's correct. They'll do some photography work. They'll do, a lot of measurements and diagrams. They'll ensure where everybody was when the incident actually happened. They'll get witness statements, interviews. They'll look at surveillance video if that's available. So it's a lengthy process, but with all of our personnel there working together and kind of dividing and conquering tasks, we can be relatively efficient with it.
All right, and just to recap, how long do you think until we have a better understanding of whose gunfire hit who in this officer-involved shooting?
I can't answer that. Knoxville Police Department is going to be the lead agency, and they'll determine when they can release that information.
So you're saying, Special Agent French, it could not, and I guess my question is, how long until you all know, not necessarily that information is released to us in the media, but how long until you all know within your agency what exactly happened here? Are we talking days or weeks?
I would say I would have an answer on some of the specifics later this evening.
Oh, wow. Okay, pretty quick. All right. Well, Special Agent French, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we can circle back with you here a little bit later tonight and see if there's any updated information. Is there anything else that you think is important to add that I didn't ask you about?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, and we'll stay in touch throughout the evening.
We have a sense of the timeline, Robin. 3:15 is when officers first responded here. To give you an indication, I was here about 25 minutes later. So that's how we've seen all this play out. And since I first arrived, when we saw dozens and dozens of law enforcement vehicles pulling up, we're seeing them now, some pulling away from the scene. The area, kind of the perimeter around the school collapsing some here at Austin East School. We know that the KPD officer who was shot on scene is expected to be okay. He has non-life-threatening injuries. We do know that one person, a man, we don't know how old or how young, is dead on scene, and another has been detained for questioning as part of this investigation. The law enforcement officers here on scene still going throughout the investigation. Out of the corner of my eye, I could peek out a canine officer here on scene. You mentioned the ATF coming to look at some of the bullet casings and some of the shells around the shooting that took place at Austin East School just before 3:15 this afternoon. We know that the helicopter, interestingly, the Knox County Sheriff's Office air launch helicopter that was overhead for the most of the majority of this afternoon has now moved and is now circling overhead on a separate area on the west, several blocks west of where we are right now. We're working to learn more information about what might be happening there. Maybe part of this investigation may be unrelated to something else. As we continue to learn more from the scene here where the Knox County Schools says that the school, there has been a shooting at the school is on lockdown, students not involved have been released several hours ago to go home to their families. Back to you.
Cole Sullivan on the scene. We'll get back to you when there's an update from you, Cole. And just to fill in the investigation, Beth, you mentioned the ATF and Cole did as well. What they'll do with those shell casings and also look at the firearms and put them in a national database to see if they can be connected to any other medical shootings again. Or the part of downtown Knoxville.
All right, Pete, thank you. We appreciate that vantage point. As Pete kind of shows us the outside of the building, we can give you a glimpse into what's happening inside. Mayor Indy Buchanan met briefly with the Knoxville Police Department officer who was shot in this situation, and his wife. She told us moments ago that he's in good spirits, alert and conscious, and said really he was glad that he was the one there to be able to protect students.
You said they're frustrated not only by the lack of information they've gotten today, but the continued gun violence in the East Knoxville community. Just a couple weeks ago, we were standing in this exact parking lot remembering the life of Stanley Freeman Jr. Today, there's another shooting in this community. All those other shootings that took place were all sticking on this, but now today it's happened inside their school. They're wondering what's happening, wondering what's next, and wondering when this is going to stop. One mom showed me text messages with her daughter, and she just didn't know what was happening. And they're also worried about the mental health impact that losing some of their classmates and going through events like this will have on them. More on that coming up later. John?
Grace King on the scene for us.
And Grace, just to speak to that heartbreak and that frustration given what has been playing out in recent months, as we've been reporting all afternoon, 4 Austin East High School students have been killed by gun violence since the beginning of the year. Going back to January, when 15-year-old Justin Taylor was killed. In February, 15-year-old Janaria Muhammad. Also, 16-year-old Stanley Freeman. And then in March, 15-year-old Jamarian Gillette. And Katie Inman, 10 news reporter Katie Inman, has spoken earlier with Jamarian's cousin, Sarah Gillette, and she said over and over to Katie, it's crazy. It's crazy. So obviously a sense of frustration, sadness, fear, so many different emotions playing out right now. We will, of course, be continuing to cover this story as it continues to develop. I might know that we break right now for a commercial. We'll be right back.
Well, they're like, we do want you not to go on the record and say I court if we're going to actually follow through and prosecute. So that's been tough for them. But yeah, we'll continue to follow that. David Sykes, one of our assignment editors, just walked in. Casey and mentioned handing me this paper. We've got another shooting that's possibly unfolding on Trustlow, which is near South Drive. It was initially paged out as a drive-by shooting, and they are searching for a suspect. Is that correct? And how far, David, is this from Austin East High School? Under a mile. So we're now in the situation where we've got another possible shooting happening within a mile of Austin East High School. Casey, we've got Zach Rickens headed to that scene to learn more about that. But police confirming that this is now another shooting investigation underway within a close vicinity. That's David Sykes, you just saw walking behind Casey, by the way. Who's feeding me information? Another shooting near Austin East High School. So for folks who are just joining us, let's recap, and then Casey, I'll keep you here because I'm going to come back to you for the backstory. If they're just joining us, Knoxville police have an officer-involved shooting on their hands at Austin East High School. A KPD officer was hit by gunfire. That officer is expected to be okay. This is a look at the scene earlier today when Knox County Sheriff's Office had their helicopter flying above, just as a measure of added security for no other reason than that. Oh, this is live. So they are still, gotcha. Okay. It's
I forgot about the other shooting. So this is actually live. This is not our taped footage from Austin East High School earlier. The Knox County Sheriff's Office has got their helicopter back in the air because, again, we do have that other shooting investigation now underway about a mile away from the high school. This was called in as a possible drive-by shooting. So this is the other scene, the other investigation, shooting investigation that's unfolded in the last 2 hours here. So this happened in the last few minutes. That's why we were seeing Knox County flying again. This is Trustlow Street near Center Drive, East Knoxville area, about a mile from Austin East High School. At this hour, it's unclear if there's any connection between this current investigation and the shooting investigation unfolding at Austin East High School. But to keep you in the loop on the Austin East investigation, let's finish that update before we move on to this. Austin East, Knoxville police officer shot, expected to be okay. A male who was considered armed had entered the high school. That person is dead at the high school. And then a third person, a male, is detained and being questioned at this hour. So unclear exactly who these two guys are. Was it a student? Just people walk off the street? We really don't know. That's what we're trying to get to the bottom of, and I'm sure investigators are hard at work trying to learn as well. We do know that all students who were not involved with this have been released to their families, reunited with their families.
Spitfire, I'm going to help you out so you won't never be able to come back.
It sounds like ones who may have seen what happened or may know something are still on scene, perhaps being questioned by police. Okay, this is just coming into the newsroom from Ashley Boley. This is in reference to the piece of the investigation that we're just learning about. Police telling us that a male subject who was possibly armed in the school is what prompted this whole scenario. Ashley is saying that Austin East students were required to have clear backpacks starting on March 8th. She says the 2 times that she visited the school since then, she saw students with clear backpacks. And that's not something that I knew. So thank you, Ashley Boley, for sharing that. We'll see how that comes into play. And I imagine the reason that that policy was instituted was because of all the violence that has been happening with.
Shout out to Great Night 7777. What up, bro?
Back to that other situation. If you're just joining us, we've got 2 separate situations. Right now, we've got a live look over Austin East High School. There is a deadly officer-involved shooting there. The officer is okay. Then, in the last 10 minutes, we learned about another shooting investigation, a possible shooting about a mile away on Trustlow Street.
So we got a second shooting in Knoxville, Tennessee, about a mile away from the Austin East High School. Second shooting that just unraveled, ladies and gentlemen. It's the resistance.
It's a very psychological thing that's happening here.
Yeah. Bebopping from UT Medical Center and back over to this scene, trying to get a handle on all the facts and all the information. She's already visited with a Knoxville police officer who was shot in this deadly officer-involved shooting at Austin East High School. She met with the officer and his wife, and gave us some positive news that I think a lot of us were hoping for, which is
Yellow Snowman, seems like you keep getting off at the wrong stop. Next bus in 15, but the express is coming right now. I'm gonna help you out too.
they entered the high school after getting reports of an armed male suspect, possibly armed male, and that's when shots were fired. We know the ATF has maybe 5 agents inside the school right now trying to figure out who shot who. They are saying they may have that information or that knowledge by as early as tonight. Available at that other shooting investigation that is now unfolding about a mile away. We do not. Okay, a few minutes ago we showed you Knox County Sheriff's Office had their helicopter in the air over that scene, which is a mile from where we are right now at the high school.
possibly trying to secure the situation, maybe looking for someone. It's unclear at this hour. Again, now in the matter of 3 hours, we've had 2 shooting investigations pop up in Knoxville. It's unclear whether or not they are connected. And the most recent shooting investigation seems to be quite fresh. So it could be a moment before we get an update. We do have a crew headed to that scene. Zach Wickens headed over to Treslow Street, which is near Center Drive. So hopefully we'll be able to have a quick update for you, live update for you over there as soon as we can get him powered up and live for you.
All right, y'all. So we had a second shooting. They're investigating a possible, I believe, shooting about a mile away from the Austin East High School. See if I can find some more coverage on this situation.
Who has lived in that neighborhood for years. He's a freshman at the State House, but his wife is the vice mayor of this community and has been, as all of us know, deeply connected to what has been happening in Austin East and the surrounding community. And he says, just at the outset, I am at a loss to describe my sadness as yet another horrific act of gun violence has happened in my community. Austin East High School is my alma mater and my heart goes out to the students. He goes on to talk about just what a
positive news that I think a lot of us were hoping for, which is this officer is okay, in good spirits, and by her account, happy to be in the position to protect students at the school. Again, we're learning from police that they entered the high school after getting reports of an armed male suspect.
School in Knoxville. My office has been briefed on the situation, and I am praying for the community, including the officer injured in the line of duty. Speaking of the community, we want to go back to the community where teenage reporter Katie Inman has been. She's been talking to people in that community, and Katie, you had said that really people are shocked, they're frustrated, and the one thing that you kept hearing over and over and over again, they said, it's crazy. It's crazy.
That's exactly right, Robin. That is what people have been saying this whole time that I've been down here asking them how they felt, if they've seen or heard anything. They just kept repeating those words. It's crazy. Now, we are just down from Austin East High School, and the people that are around this area, there's not as many down here now as there were when we first arrived, but we did talk to Sharon Gillette, who is actually Brian Muhammad. She's a 15-year-old girl that was shot and killed in East Knoxville due to gun violence earlier this year. She was also an Austin East student. She said that whenever she heard what was going on here at Austin East earlier this afternoon.
Shouts to Carrie Watkins. Thank you very much. Level wise to see what's going on.
Aria was a victim of that gun violence too. Many families, parents, they're just hungry for more information. They want answers. They want
Motor City Free Press.
traction on Twitter too from people saying, when will this stop? When will this stop? They're saying, Austin East has been through so much. Now, earlier this year, we saw those 4 shootings, and those were not on school property. And now we're seeing it inside the school building. So definitely heartbreaking for this community, the people right outside the school. Grace King was talking with earlier, saying some showed her text messages saying that they received messages from their kids and grandkids. They were saying that they were on a hard lockdown. There were still a lot of questions. There still are questions revolving around this whole situation, but mostly people are concerned. They are hurt. They are hurting for this community. And like I said, they want answers. And those words again, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's what I just kept hearing from the people that were around the scene. We're just down from Austin East High School, down at Payne Avenue Missionary Baptist Church. And we will continue to let you know as we hear from more people in the community. Continue to keep updated with us. We're tweeting and putting on Facebook some powerful sound from some of those parents, relatives.
people that are, their involvement right now sounds to be as support. And it's such a preliminary situation and so fluid. It may be a situation where not all the information is native from KPD to KCSO, but I will ask that while you continue to kind of give us an idea of how this scene is evolving there at Austin East High School.
Well, now that we know it's secure, that's what it looks like now. Just a secure scene with officers standing by. You really didn't see too much contact between the community and officers. Just people wondering what's going on, and they're trying to just redirect traffic. As you see, roads are still blocked off for blocks from the school. That's along Martin Luther King Jr. here in East Knox. You see officers still trying to redirect traffic here. Not much, you don't see a lot of cars coming in like you did earlier. So it looks like maybe they blocked off roads a little bit further back. I'm seeing some units, some ambulance, nobody saw it. At first we were seeing a lot of officers flying through, going somewhere, but we don't see that much anymore.
So we're taking a live, you can't see this back on the ground, but just to give viewers at home an idea of what we're looking at now, Pete Michaels, our eye in the sky, is watching the scene as he flies above Austin East High School. So this gives us a better idea of the magnitude of this situation as we see what sort of perimeter police and emergency crews have set up here. Again, for folks just joining us, a Knoxville Police Department officer is among multiple gunshot victims near Austin East High School here in Knoxville, of course, a school plagued by violence, in some cases deadly gun violence within the last few months here in Knoxville. We could see multiple police officers on scene part as this investigation unfolds. Do we have the ability, guys, to listen to Pete Michaels? Can he chat with us on the air? If so, let's get his mic opened up. We can ask him a few questions. And while we work on that, I should note that this is quickly becoming a story. This is quickly becoming a story of national. Hold on, just a second, Pete. This is quickly becoming a story of national interest. We have editors from news organizations across the country now reaching out to us, specifically the New York Times and other agencies now picking up this story. Pete, give me a better feel for what exactly we're looking at and what you see as you fly above Austin East High School, the scene where multiple gunshot victims have been found.
Well, what we do now is we're giving ourselves some space to stay away from THP Chopperwood just below us, but you can see that all the main arteries, all the secondaries around the school are blocked off. There's still a lot of equipment, as you would imagine, on the scene. And this, one of those afternoons I probably normally wouldn't be flying because there's so much turbulence up here, so that's why the shot is a little more shaky than normal. But all of these coming inbound, I did see a few minutes ago, fire department and still an ambulance service on the scene, unit on the scene. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to try to reposition here for our producers and for you, and try to get a little more stable shot, maybe a little health jump. I'll have to work that out with the sheriff's department so we can work a little closer together. But there's no way you get in and out of this place right now near Austin East High School. Either way, I'll have to shut a few more seconds. Then I'll get back to you with more live update from the sky.
Pete, quickly, can you just show us this reunification site? Can you help us identify on the screen where that is? The baseball field, I'm assuming it's the big triangle there behind the school, and the parking lot just beyond. We see baseball diamond next to the football field. It sounds like it's the Wilson Avenue and South Embry.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that for you. And then get back to you just a couple of minutes and pinpoint it.
Okay.
We'll get back in a few minutes.
Pete, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Pete. We should mention as he continues to try to pinpoint some of those locations that we're talking about, we'll take you back to the ground scene here where law enforcement and emergency personnel are now gathering. Knox County Schools is now acknowledging this via Twitter. The superintendent saying that they are gathering information about what they're calling a tragic situation. But this is interesting. The superintendent says the school building has been secured, so that's good, we know that. And students who were not involved in the incident have been released to their families. So you wonder, is there some sort of hidden meaning behind that statement? The superintendent saying students who were not involved in the incident have been released to their families. So again, this makes us have even more questions. Who exactly is involved here? At this hour, the only confirmed victim that we've been able to share with you is a Knoxville Police Department officer who is now at a local hospital. Knox County Sheriff's Office tells us that officer, a male, is getting treated. But who else was involved? And it would seem that based on the superintendent's comments here, that he may be implying that students were in fact involved in this in some way or another, whether or not they saw what happened, were nearby when something happened, or directly involved. So that's information that we're going to continue to look for and keep a close eye on. CBS News now picking up this story as well. We're telling you that this is quickly drawing national attention. CBS News, the latest major news outlet to begin covering this story as we continue to learn more about what's unfolding here at Austin East High School. We should mention Gwendolyn Dupree, our reporter on the scene, was literally 5 minutes away from the high school, covering events with students from Austin East High School, families from the community, and with 5 gun-related incidents in the last couple months here. Some of them with deadly consequences. We've had at least 4 students shot and killed in gun violence situations. So this is a community that is marred by violence already. There was about 5 minutes away an event underway to look at ways that we can prevent this sort of violence. And here we are. Gwen left that scene, rushed down here for more violence. Gwen, do you have, and I don't know if you can still hear,
every day this week they had something set for these kids, Vinyl Mary as well as Austin East students, to get together to spread peace and awareness and put the guns down. That was supposed to be the message every day. The week even started out like that. You know, we covered this weekend a block party, a Stop the Violence block party. We do see the park director out here as well as looks like she's walking alongside an Austin East official. We might be able to get some more information there. But yes, every day this was supposed to be something fun. Today we were just going to cover paint the shirt.
Gwen, I'm sorry to interrupt you, and tell us again who we are watching walk up towards the school there.
Yeah, so this is the park director. This is the park is essentially a liaison between the community and police. They are boots on the ground whenever a situation happens, whenever say a civilian or just anyone has a complaint with KPD, they are involved, they get involved, and they're the middleman between the community and police. So I can imagine that there's probably going to be some type of briefing or a meeting held between the director. We heard when McKenzie's on the ground here, tried to give her a call, but I can imagine she's busy and held up right now. So we are
starting to see what has been multiple shootings since the beginning of the year, 4 involving 4 Austin East High School students. We've shared their names and we want to share them again. Justin Taylor, Stanley Freeman, Janaria Muhammad, Jamarian Gillette. Those 4 Austin East High School students have died by shooting since the beginning of the year. Now we have a situation that has played out. We are still trying to piece everything together as to what happened earlier today. But the situation being, people were shot, people were killed. And this community, once again, trying to process and deal with the realities that they're seeing far too often. They're angry and they are rightfully frustrated and they want change, saying enough is
He's
enough.
got his mic on. All right, Pete, so anything of note that you're seeing at this particular reunification site or in this of the scene in general?
All right, now what's here we're looking for? We've got a lot going on up here. You can imagine we're right. I'm going to zoom to get this back. You can imagine I'm right north of the downtown Iowa Airport, and what we have to do, we've got we've got a number of airplanes around us. We need to keep an eye on that situation as well. So we're trying to give it a shot. Now, as far as finding the area behind the ballpark, we see most of the activity in front of the school, the side streets, back to the ballpark again. The unification area, we'll give you that shot. That was your looking. But that's really all I can have right now. You can imagine between what's going on up here and the traffic in the air and traffic on the ground. Now it looks like the area that Amanda was talking about is a little more busy off of Wilson. And again, we've had to climb a little bit higher to try to give you a steady shot. As you can imagine, flying 100 miles an hour in bumpy conditions could be a bit of a challenge. So let me continue to circle, focus on the shots we can get you, and try to pass on more specifics as we get there, just around the vicinity of Austin East High School.
Okay, thanks, Pete. Yeah, we appreciate you continuing to fly and keep us up to date on the situation there. We should note, Knox County Sheriff's Office also
Breaking now on News at 6, we are continuing our breaking coverage after Knoxville police reported several people. One person has been shot, including an officer, another suspect shot and killed. Another person has been taken in for questioning.
This shooting unfolded at Austin East Magnet High School at about 3:15 today. That's when officers responded. Knoxville police say at least one person, as Robin mentioned, is dead. The officer was transported to UT Medical Center with non-life-threatening injuries. We have team coverage across the area. We begin tonight with reporter Cole Sullivan. Cole?
The other students not involved in this incident have been released to go home with their families. I want to give you a look behind me here at the Austin East Magnet High School right at 6 o'clock. The change between when we pulled up at 3:30 after the shooting was reported at 3:15 to now is dramatic. You can see there's police tape up. There are a number of law enforcement vehicles still here, but not nearly as many as we saw when we first arrived here on scene around 3:30. When we got here then, there were dozens of Knoxville police cruisers. The Knox County Sheriff's Office was flying overhead and responding here on the ground. Now we know the TBI will be the lead investigative agency on this incident here in East Knoxville at Austin East Magnet High School. We're told it all unfolded around 3:15 this afternoon. We know that the Knoxville police officer who was shot according to WBIR sources in the leg and suffered non-life-threatening injuries. He's at UT Medical Center. I saw the medical examiner's vehicle pull out from the school only a few moments ago. There is a man dead inside. We don't know the age of that person, whether he was a student or not. We do know that another person a person of interest has been detained for an investigation into this right now. As I said, the TBI will be the lead investigation on this right now. And my producer just said something in my ear, if they'll repeat it, but we're still seeing this whole scene unfold right now, and we have some words from the mayor as well. Let's take a listen.
He's conscious and he's in good spirits. I met with his wife. He's going to be okay. And I thanked him for putting his life on the line to protect the students and staff at the school. And he said he'd rather that he be hurt than anybody else. And he's in very good spirits.
We also have...
Shout out True Seekers. Shout out Beach Life.
He says, and let me read it to you, this happened about an hour ago. He said the schools is responding to a shooting at Austin East Magnet High School. We are gathering information about this tragic situation and will provide additional information as soon as possible. He says the school building has been secure, which we can see behind us here, and students not involved in the incident have been released to their families. And when I pulled up on scene, I saw some of those students walking home. It's high school kids, some of them are 15 years old, and these are young kids walking away from the scene here with their backpacks on, shaking. One was on the phone, presumably to his family, explaining that he was okay before word even filtered out about what happened here. Other students walking past saying they didn't know what happened, but yet another incident of gun violence, this time taking place inside Austin East Magnet High School. We're still learning more about that investigation, and as we learn more, we'll bring it to you.
All right, Cole, thank you very much. You mentioned the latest instance of gun violence. This is the same school where 4 students
suffered shootings murdered for the school. This is the information that we are still trying to get from authorities. We do expect there to be a news conference shortly. We also know that the vice mayor of Knoxville asked asking for prayers essentially as she headed towards the scene to get a handle on exactly what's been going on there. We have Pete Michaels, who is flying from the air watching this. It largely looks like a secure scene, and that's the information that we're getting from the Knox County Sheriff's Office as they offer support or play, I guess, a supporting role in this situation. The Knox County Sheriff's Office telling us that their understanding that this situation is secure, that people living in the area don't have any cause for immediate concern, that there is no immediate threat to her understanding. We've got a bunch of people in our newsroom working to get a handle on some other pieces of information that are pertinent to this story, so we expect a few updates here in a moment, but some telling information coming from the superintendent of Knox County Schools, essentially saying that all families have been reunited, so students have been reunited with their families, except for students who are directly involved somehow in this situation. Those students are among the only students who have not been reunited with their families. What he means by that is kind of unclear at this hour. Does that mean students who saw something? Does that mean students who may have been directly involved? We're still trying to get a handle on that information. Pete Michaels now flying from the air, kind of keeping tabs on the situation because.
Shout out to Thomas Dow. No, it wasn't the principal that got killed. They said it was a suspect. They haven't revealed who the suspect is, whether the suspect was a student or an adult, but the suspect is dead.
Okay, Amanda, we're trying to juggle a few things up here for you. What I can tell you is that not much has changed. We've checked all stable shots, get the shot squared away for you. We talked about the football field, we talked about the ball field, we talked about the unification area. It doesn't appear, well, a few more cars now coming in, trickling in with law enforcement. It looks like most of the activity is going to be out in front of the school. I see all the mains and all the secondary and tertiary routes in here are blocked. There's still units from the ambulance service, the fire department on the scene.
Shout out Plasma Burns.
Lined up along the street at the back toward the area, Wilson and all the secondaries into that area, they're going to be blocked. So don't have a lot to add. All we do right now is show you what it looks like from the air. Keep an eye on things. If we find something specific, or Amanda, if you think of something while we're shooting this shot, you want me to either back up, back down, or left,
Yeah.
It might be right in front of me and I can't see it.
Yeah, if you can just show us the baseball diamond one more time. That was the reunification site, and it sounds like it still doesn't look like there's much activity there, which would make sense based on what we're hearing from the school superintendent. So it doesn't look like we've really got much happening out that way. Superintendent saying, look, the situation is secure, the building is secure. Students who were not involved have been released to their families, so it sounds like there's not a lot of reunification happening. Are you able to get any closer to the area where there's the highest concentration of police? I would be curious to know where the focal point of this scene is. That might give us a better understanding of where exactly a shooting may have occurred or unfolded. And it may also, if we don't see one focal point, help us understand if there's a potential that there were multiple scenes. Are you able to see from your vantage point where the most police officers seem to be clustered?
Well, they seem to be clustered to an extent in front of the school. Matter of fact, I can't talk here whether it's normal traffic, but I can see a lot of activity on the street. But then back toward parts of Mary Street and Castle Street, Wilson, you're going to find a lot of activity. Of course, it looks like, I can't tell if there's law enforcement there. You have some along the side of the road, parts of Castle. Some of the traffic off of Magnolia Avenue, trying to turn down in this area, it's not going to happen. But they're spread out, and I would agree with you, Amanda. From what I can see from the air, it looks like things have stabilized, at least for now. Law enforcement's got things well under control, and I haven't spotted anything else alarming at this point. Whatever's happened, they're investigating. We'll try to go over to UT Hospital, try to get a shot there, but for now, you're seeing it as I see it.
Okay, yeah, if you are able to pop over to UT Medical, it would be interesting to see what sort of activity we see over there, as we know that the Knoxville police officer who was shot is now at UT Medical Center being treated. It's unclear the extent of that officer's injuries or in what capacity he was working when this situation unfolded. Did he respond to the scene and was shot then, or was he working with the school in some capacity? So those are things we're still trying to get a handle on. We should mention, just now coming into the newsroom, the Governor Bill Lee, addressing the situation during his virtual school call that's been happening for the last few minutes here. Governor Bill Lee saying that he's praying for the families and people involved. Anyone who may have been affected by this shooting, says he's thinking about all the parties involved in keeping them in his thoughts and prayers. For folks who aren't familiar with what has been happening at this particular high school this school year, here is the backstory. And the headline is, this school has been plagued by violence. The neighborhood has been dealing with the shooting deaths of 4 of its students. Up until this point, it's really been largely unclear if any of those shootings were connected in any other way besides the fact that the victims were students. Investigations are underway. 4 teens shot and killed since the beginning of this year. The very first one happened January 27th. Justin Taylor was one of the victims, the first victim, 15 years old. You remember this, I'm sure. He was shot and killed while leaving a parking lot, and fellow students witnessed his death. The second, Stanley Freeman Jr., 16 years old, shot while leaving Austin East High School's third, a 15-year-old. So we have had, again, 4 teens, students of Austin East High School, shot and killed since the beginning of this year. All of this started January 27th. Investigations are underway. Arrests made in at least one of these cases, but police have not been able to say how or if any of them are linked. And this has been a huge focal point for detectives trying to figure out, are they connected? What's sparking this rash of violence? And earlier today, in fact, within the last hour, Gwendolyn Dupree, our reporter on the scene, she was about 5 minutes away with a bunch of Austin East High School students and Knoxville police for a sort of stop the violence type of rally that cities and communities across the country are partaking in this week, that we're also commemorating here in Knoxville. And they were in the middle of celebrating this big effort to stop the violence when it comes to kids. And within a few minutes of her being there and about to go live, she was rerouted here to this scene, five minutes away at Austin East High School, and here we are. If you're just joining us, an Knoxville police officer is among multiple people shot near Austin East High School. The school superintendent says that the building is secure and that students who were not involved have been released to their families. Gwendolyn Dupree, if you can hear me, I did see you speaking with officers a minute ago, wondering if you were able to learn anything in those conversations, or if there's anything new developing on the scene that you can share with us.
Yes, I was told that we can expect
Knoxville police officer. We don't know whether it was the school resource officer or not, although we know that KPD provides school resource officers for this school. Was shot. We're told WBIR sources and say that he was shot in the leg, has non-life-threatening injuries. Another person, a man, we don't know how old, whether it was a student or not, is dead inside the school right now. There are no other injuries reported at this time. I want to talk to you a little bit about what we've heard from the superintendent. As you mentioned, the school district says that this school, Austin East Magnet School, will be closed tomorrow and Wednesday after this incident. Not the first time they've had to close this school year because of gun violence in the community. We also have a statement from Superintendent Bob Thomas. I believe we have it up on the screen. He talked, some of this information is because it's developing right as the situation is coming through, as he's responding to some of this, and he says, we are gathering information about this tragic situation and will provide additional information as soon as possible. The school building has been secure, and students who were not involved in the incident have been released to their families. And I'm going to step up.
Shout out rugby fan, Maria J. Francis.
Forensic forensics moving in and out of the building. We're told the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms will also be here on scene if they are not already on scene. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has agents on the way, and they will be leading this investigation, presumably in cooperation with the Knoxville Police Department, who were the first responding agency to this scene. We've also heard from the State Department of Education, the Commissioner, Penny Schwinn, releasing a statement earlier today saying that her department stands ready to provide support. She says it is time to wrap arms around the affected students, educators, and school staff, their family, and this entire community to support them through this horrific tragedy. Yet another.
So there's a lot of activity there. I was expecting to see many more uniformed officers, or at least patrol cars, but we can see plenty of activity. But right now, it's acceptable relative to Alcoa Highway on and off. It's acceptable around the hospital area. Just about all entrances to whether it be the B building, A, B, C, D, E, H buildings, there's plenty of activity there. Again, it's hard to tell from the air almost certainly exactly where the most activity is. But I can tell you, there's another helicopter just over. Well, that's very unusual. There's three I've seen right here at the hospital. Usually it's just one or two. But to give you a long answer to a short question, it's acceptable. There's plenty of activity around the emergency room and around the hospital overall as we continue to circle UT Hospital. And we'll stick around here for a few more minutes, Amanda, and then we'll head back across to see if anything's changed in that area, okay?
Okay, great. Pete, thank you so much. Continuing to monitor University of Tennessee Medical Center, where we know the Knoxville police officer who is among multiple people shot after a shooting at Austin East High School. This is where that officer is being treated. The extent of his injury is unknown. We are learning that the ATF is now involved with this investigation. They are confirming that they are coming in to assist with the investigation. We're in the process of trying to get more information from them and hopefully a live interview as well to see the extent of their involvement and why they've been called in to help. We're also talking with the fire department, Knoxville Fire Department. They're saying that they did, in fact, also help respond to this shooting at Austin East High School. They're calling it a shooting at the high school. The fire department says they were able to make contact with help from the police department with patients. So, sorry, I'm just reading this statement live with you, so you're hearing it out of my mouth as I'm reading it for the first time. A spokesperson says, quote, "We were able to make contact with help from the police department, shielding our paramedics as they advanced to the patients." So this is a pretty big deal here. We're learning from the fire department. They essentially arrived on scene following a shooting at the high school and shielded paramedics with help from the police department as they advanced towards patients. So this is telling us that the fire department played an integral role in reaching victims of this shooting and doing all that they could to extract patients from this scene and get them medical attention as quickly as possible. It sounds like they were able to do this with help from the police department that was shielding paramedics. That is the terminology they're using. It's unclear what they were shielding paramedics from. Was it the threat of something that could happen or an active threat? So that'll be something that we need to dig into a little deeper as we continue to learn more about this shooting at Austin East High School that has left multiple people with gunshot wounds, including a Knoxville police officer. The extent of those injuries unclear. We did take just a live look at UT Medical Center where we know the officer was taken. Not a heavy presence of police there, but we'll continue to monitor that. We do know that the Knox County Sheriff's Office has sent one of their deputies out that way to monitor the situation as well. So we're continuing to stay in contact with all the different agencies that are supporting this situation. Let's see. We get another note here on the news desk. Ashley Foley, one of our reporters, is saying that she heard from the behavior interventionist at Austin East, Quanah Fields, via text message, that behavior interventionist at Austin East High School telling our reporter Ashley Foley, "I'm still at the school. Nothing has been shared with staff yet. Hoping to hear something soon." So we are understanding that there are staff members still inside the school at this hour as police continue their investigation. Gwen is on the scene. You're looking at this live shot now. She's with our chief photojournalist, Keith Smith right here at this.
Shout outs to Phenomenon. What's going on? So we got a shooting in Austin. I'm sorry, we have a shooting in Knoxville, Tennessee. Austin East High School. One cop shot. He's in stable condition. He's doing all right. They said he's in good spirits. We have one suspect dead. We don't know if it's a child, a student, or a full-grown adult. We're waiting on a press release. We're also waiting to find out who the suspect is and other details as well.
A threat any longer to the general public that they're held.
Shout outs Peanut 411
as just as support from the air. Pete Michaels is continuing to fly for us, giving us a unique vantage. So because of Pete, we're not only able to look at UT Medical Center where that Knoxville police officer is being treated, perhaps other victims could be being treated here as well. We're not sure. But he's watching the scene there, and then he's also been able to watch the scene above the high school for us. Pete, you're at UT Medical. Any updates out there?
Liz, many people across our community step up and say, this is the absolute number one problem that faces the Knoxville community. And we have seen action by community leaders to invest in ways to stop gun violence. Speak to that, if you would, a little bit, because you've reported it as we have throughout the last few weeks.
And you said it earlier, John, the whole community, not just here at Austin East, but across Knoxville and Knox County, is heartbroken about what's happened here at Austin East just this semester. On top of battling a year of the coronavirus pandemic, this school has been just wrenched apart by gun violence over the last several months. We've seen it in some of the shootings that you and Robin have been talking about earlier, and we've seen an urgency from not only the Knoxville Police Department, but also the leaders in Knox County on the city council and the mayor herself calling gun violence in our community as
shout outs Peanut 411. I appreciate you.
Right now, they've put forward efforts, large sums of money to go towards this. They've applied.
Let me know when y'all coming. You got my number. Give me a call, Peanut.
I'm not sure if that continued or not. To date today, we've seen high-profile press conferences after arrests of suspects involved in shootings, killing Austin East students in the past before, and it's been a feeling of just a pit in your stomach of understanding what this school has been through and what this school community has been through. Just here at Austin East alone, one high school here in Knoxville that has become the center of so much of this horrible gun violence that we've seen impacting the kids in our area. John, I do want to mention one point. You were looking live at UT Medical Center earlier where that officer, that police officer, Knoxville police officer was taken. Some folks who are watching this from outside of Knox County may not quite understand how this works. We have within the city of Knoxville, the schools within the city of Knoxville have their own, school resource officers supplied by the Knoxville Police Department. We do not yet know whether the officer who was shot was the school resource officer or one of the school resource officers here at Austin East. In other schools, folks outside of Knox County may be thinking, no, it's the sheriff's deputies who provide those school resource officers, but within the city limits, Knoxville Police provides those school resource officers. KCS, the school district, has additional school security personnel as well. We are waiting to learn information if that officer who sustained non-life-threatening injuries in the shooting was in fact the school resource officer here at Austin East.
Cole, thank you. Of course, we will be.
We're going to take a look at a map really quick as we continue to monitor the scenes here. This map shows you the locations in this particular community where there have been shootings involving Austin East high school students since January 27th. So we've had a rash of shootings involving Austin East high school students, 4 or 5 to be exact, within the last few months here. And this is a map showing, okay, we've got Austin East high school there on the top of the screen, and then all the different locations where these shootings have happened. So this is why we pay even closer attention to what's happening right now, is because of the history, the rash of violence centered on Austin East High School within recent weeks and months.
Shout outs to Heckovus B.
That's just to get you up to speed. Shooting at Austin East High School, multiple gunshot victims, including a Knoxville police officer. That officer is being treated at UT Medical Center. That officer's condition is unknown. It's unclear who else is involved, but the superintendent of schools tells us the building is secure and that all students have been reunited with their families, except for students who may have been involved with this situation. So that implies that students may have witnessed something or been involved with something, and that those students, not really.
In the parking lot right across from the school. And if you remember, a couple weeks ago, the community gathered here to honor the life of Stanley Freeman Jr., another student at Austin High School. And they're just saying, enough is enough. When will this violence end? They're also worried about the mental health impact that these shootings will have on the kids. They've lost 4 of their classmates just since the beginning of 2021 to gun violence, not necessarily.
Shout out to Magic Disaster. Dennis Pig.
Today, at least one person has died, an officer injured, and shooting inside their school. So they're worried about the mental health impacts of their kids. They're worried about the violence in this community. They want answers to see what resources are in place to make this stop and to help these kids heal and move forward. John?
Grace King with their perspective. We appreciate your reporting this afternoon, and more of this to come as well. We are talking throughout the evening, Robin, as you know, with many different people in our community about how we solve this problem, yet another shooting. We want to walk you through the events once again that we know happened at Austin East High School today. Again, about 3:15, the call came in, and officers from every different district responded because this was an officer-involved shooting. What we have learned from Knoxville police investigators is that it did involve an officer who suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Our reporting says that officer was hit in the leg, but again, will be okay. There is another person who was killed.
Officer hit in the leg.
One person dead, an officer in the hospital, Robin. Again, this unfolding about 3 hours ago at Austin East Magnet High School.
And unfortunately, this is not the first tragedy to strike Austin East High School this year. And as you see right here, 4 teenagers dying from
Investigation of guns and shell casings, so that would keep in line with what we already know about this situation. You see Gwendolyn Dupree there off in the distance. On this live shot, speaking with officers who are manning the checkpoint here. This is a checkpoint where only authorized personnel are allowed to enter the scene. So the medical examiner had been on scene. It's unclear in what capacity, if they've left, why they were called, if it was for a precaution, or if there was a specific reason that they would have been there. The TBI is also helping in this case. This has quickly become the focal point of many national news outlets. To name a few, CNN, CBS News, New York Times, all reporting on this. Our company is sharing this coverage with our more than 100 television stations across the country as well. So Knoxville, Tennessee, for the wrong reasons, becoming the center point of national news at this hour as a shooting investigation unfolds at Austin East High School. We know that a Knoxville police officer is among multiple gunshot victims at this hour. Unclear what that officer's condition is. We are working to get as much information as we can. But our Pete Michaels, who is typically our traffic reporter, but is also a pilot, flies his own plane, and is able to give us a really good vantage point of different scenes from the air, took us to UT Medical Center a short time ago, and we saw that there was not a heavy police presence outside of UT Medical Center, which we're going to take as an indication of the level of injuries this officer may have sustained.
We are continuing to follow this story. We have reporters out gathering information, and we will continue to bring you up to date on this at WBIR.com and, of course, tonight on 10 News Night Beat. Until then, we leave you this a look at Austin East High School in East Knoxville.
Potentially being multiple scenes, and when we're able to look from the air and see where all of the cruisers are gathered, sometimes it can tell a story. So tell us again what sort of pattern you're seeing from the air there.
when I'm looking at Parkview, Louise, I'm looking at Wilson Road, and I can't quite make out where the building is to the northwest part of the school. But there's a lot of activity here. But overall, I agree with Amanda. I mean, when I first arrived here, I expected to see a lot more activity. And again, we're not going to speculate, but hopefully we take that as a good sign. You would think if it was maybe a worse situation, we would definitely be using the football field for a number of reasons. But that's vacated. Even the baseball field, and even the parking lot, where we understand you are going to have parents congregate, meet, reunite. There are a few more parents here now, Amanda, but not what we would have expected. I think parents are being well informed at this point.
Yeah, and this would be in line with what we're learning, Pete, that this is largely a secure scene. We're learning from the superintendent of schools that the school is secure, the building is secure. Learning from the Knox County Sheriff's Office to their understanding that there is no active threat. So that's at least the good news. It doesn't sound like, by all accounts, that the immediate neighborhood or community needs to be worried about any sort of active threat at this hour. The Governor Bill Lee, was actually in the middle of addressing the state about his education plan and whether schools, how schools are going to go to virtual learning next year. He is, of course, pivoting during that address to talk about what's unfolding here in Knoxville. And we do have a little piece of an interview that we'd like to share with you really quick.
I want to acknowledge a very difficult and tragic situation we have happening across the state right now in Knoxville. Austin East Magnet High School is apparently a school shooting there. I've just been informed about that just recently. We don't have a lot of details. It's a current situation right now, and law enforcement will update us appropriately. If for some reason I step out of this, that's what that will be for, or we'll have limited time after. But I just wanted to make reference to that and ask for you all to, for those who are watching online or otherwise, to pray for that situation and for the families and the victims that might be affected by that in our state.
All right, that's Governor Bill Lee addressing the shooting that is, the investigation that is now underway at Austin East High School after a Knoxville police officer is among multiple people shot this afternoon. David Sykes, we're getting some new information into the studio. As he brings this new information over, I'm just going to keep you up to speed really quick here. All right, thanks, David. The TBI is now en route to help with this investigation. The ATF is involved as well. We asked in what capacity are you involved? They said no explosives have been found, but of course we do know they assist with the investigations of guns and shell casings, so that it would make sense they would be involved in this in some way. We do also know that the medical examiner had been on scene. It is unclear if that was a precautionary measure or if there was a concrete reason that they would have been on scene, and that they may have had to leave as well. Back in the director's booth, guys, it sounds like the ATF, a spokesperson, may be on the line available for an interview. Okay, so as soon as that person is ready, Nikki French, the special agent in charge, we're going to get them on the line here to ask a couple questions. What we do know, the Knoxville police officer who is among the shooting victims is at UT Medical Center. It is unclear who else was shot in this situation. Was it a student? Was it a staff member of the school? Was it, somebody just nearby in the area? We just don't know. We're waiting for officials to share that information with us. Of course, they likely still trying to get a handle on this situation too. This is a very fluid situation. We're in the first hour or so here. This is a time when they really spend their energy getting all their facts in order, all their ducks in a row. We know that they're already in the process or have been in the process of interviewing people in the area. We imagine that's happening inside the school. By the way, the superintendent tells us that building is secure. And we've heard from at least one staff member inside the building telling our Ashley Boley that they're still at the school. Nothing's been shared with staff yet, and they're hoping to hear something soon. That's coming from a behavior interventionist at Austin East High School. Again, the governor, we just heard from him addressing the situation. He was actually in the middle of an address about virtual learning when he had to pivot there to get updated on what's happening here in Knoxville, and then releasing a statement that he's praying for the families who may be involved here. Gwendolyn Dupree has been on the scene out there talking with officers and witnesses. Is she in a position where we can see if she's learned anything? Okay, we're going to see what she can find out. We've also had Pete Michaels watching the situation at UT Medical Center, where we know that the officer is being treated. At a certain point, if you live downtown, you've probably heard the Knox County Sheriff's Office helicopters circling and circling and circling. We're not really hearing it anymore. I assume they've since landed. But initially, they were helping in support capacity. They told us, we're just in the air to provide another set of eyes on this situation. We do not believe that there is any active threat. And that would make a lot of sense from what we're seeing from the air. Not a lot of urgency in the activity on the ground. Pete Michaels, any update from your vantage point as you fly above?
And I put that on my soul, all through the asshole. And that on my soul, all through the asshole. On my soul, all through the asshole. Listen, Papa, I'm gone, I'ma sin again. Losing any option, so I gotta win again. Catch an opportunity on top, then I'ma sin again. I think this open with another, so I'm in the win. And I put that on my soul.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you just watched breaking news of multiple shooting at Austin East High School. Also, there was another shooting about a mile away from Austin, that's located in Knoxville, Tennessee. One police officer shot. He's in good condition. One suspect dead. Pretty sure they're going to be releasing more information about this later. I appreciate everybody that came into the chat. Viscerations, OG Perfect Sense, Mike Jones, The Medusa, Plasma Burns, Phenom Annan, Mr. Bloody Wolf Guy, Artists of L. Elian, Dennis Pig, Magic Disaster, Child to Peanut 411, Mr. Saw, Ivory Z, Level Eyes to See,
my thoughts and prayers are with everyone who's affected by this shooting and this incident. I was really glad to have the opportunity to meet with the officer who was hurt, and he's conscious and he's in good spirits. I met with his wife. He's going to be okay, and I thanked him for putting his life on the line to protect the students and staff at the school. And he said he'd rather that he be hurt than anybody else. And he's in very good spirits, and looking forward to the successful surgery. The medical staff here is very on top of it and taking good care of them.
And this is not the first shooting in this area just this year. Tell me what your message is to the community.
My message is that we all need to work together to stop the violence. We're working together with city, with parents, with the school system, with community-based organizations. We all need to work on this together. KPD is doing their part, and so is the school. It's a big challenge, and we're going to need everybody in the whole city to work on this together.
All right, that is Mayor India Kincannon. We're hearing from her. Obviously, she's at UT Medical Center. This is interesting, and this is good news. Folks wondering about the condition of the Knoxville police officer shot at Austin East High School. Mayor India Kincannon giving us a reason to breathe a sigh of relief at this hour. She says that she just met with the Knoxville police officer and that he is conscious and in good spirits.
I'm coming back.
And when you are live, if you can hear us, so give us just a second here. Basically, Mayor India Kincannon saying that the officer that she just met with, who was shot at Austin East High School, is in good spirits, is conscious, and he is there being treated, and he is with his wife. The mayor says she met with both of them, and that the officer says, look, I'm glad that it was me, that I could be the one there to do what I needed to do to keep students safe and protect students. So that's the good news. We are hearing that this Knoxville police officer who was shot at Austin East High School is okay, conscious, alert, in good spirits, happy that he was the one that could be there to take the hit and protect students at the high school. That is coming from Mayor India Kincannon. So that kind of confirms what we had been suspecting, that the officer was not gravely injured based on the police presence or lack of police presence that we were seeing at the hospital. So that is the good news coming from the mayor. We'll continue to get more information on that end of this situation. Gwendolyn Dupree has been talking with police officers on the scene at Austin East High School and witnesses to this situation and people who live in the area. Glenn, give us a feel for what you've learned within the last 10 minutes, because it's been a few minutes since we've talked to you.
Yeah, I apologize about that. I was speaking with a woman saying that she's a parent of a student here, telling me that she has not been able to get in contact with her daughter. She says that she's waiting by to see if her daughter, who is a student here at Austin East, will answer the phone. I asked her, I couldn't imagine what's going on in your mind right now, but if you could, tell me, what are you thinking? And she said, you know what, I'm just keeping faith right now. That's all I know how to do, and that's what I'm going to do. I love this community. I love this school. My daughter is supposed to graduate, go to prom here, and that's what she's going to do. And so that's what that mother is telling me, although she says she has not been able to make contact with her daughter who was here at Austin East today for school. I did also speak with some folks who were standing by around the time, telling me that, this is what happens. They're used to violence in this area, but they never can get used to it being affecting children. That's a lot of what you hear anytime we're having to get in front of this camera and talk to you about the gun violence that is affecting these students. It should not happen, especially not to children. I'm still trying to confirm. I've been hearing a little bit about what you've been confirming here, Amanda. We do know that some folks were saying that they've heard possible gunshots. Multiple people told me that. I'm waiting to hear that to be confirmed. I'm still waiting for the public information officer to get here. We're still being told to stand by, and that we'll be getting some additional information, hopefully, when we speak with him.
Okay, and just getting some additional confirmation here on the status of this Knoxville police officer. We just heard Mayor India Kincannon say that he's conscious, alert, and in good spirits. She just met with him within the last few minutes. Kimberly Glenn with the Knox County Sheriff's Office just texting me and saying, yes, he's in stable condition. So good news on that front. Now we've got to move on to the other people who were shot. They have not been identified. Their conditions have not been discussed. So that's kind of the next phase of this process. Who else was involved with this? Glenn, I do want to circle back. I had a question for you about the woman that you just spoke with. She said her daughter is a student at Austin East High School and that she has not been able to make contact with her daughter this afternoon.
There's no status on the other victims yet.
At the school, or is there a possibility her daughter may have left, doesn't have her phone on, and she just can't make contact?
That's what she's hoping. She did mention, because of all this chaos, she's hoping that she's with a friend right now and they're just trying to figure out what's going on. And, they're children, so she's hoping that she's just not by her phone right now, but that she's okay. But again, she doesn't know where her daughter is. She's still standing by right now, just trying to figure out. I encourage her to try to go up here and speak with police and let them know that, I'm trying to get in touch with my child. I haven't been able to thus far. But honestly, I think she's just pretty stunned right now and just don't know what to do next. So
Okay, so yeah, lots of process out there, Gwen, as you continue to learn more. A couple different scenarios we could be dealing with. Keep in mind, we do know from the Knox County School Superintendent that the building is secure, so we at least know that that situation is under control according to the superintendent. We also know that students who weren't directly involved, they've all been reunited with their family members. The superintendent says only students who may have been involved have not been released to their parents. That could mean a range of things. That could mean students who saw something and are being questioned by police. That could mean students who were somehow involved. That could mean students who were nearby. We just don't know at this hour. So that's what we're still trying to get some more information about. We do know, I'm sorry, I've got two people handing me notes here. My news director, Mary Beth, is bringing something over that we can hopefully share with you. A lot of fluid stuff happening here in the newsroom, so bear with us. We'll get to that in a second. Ben, what are you finding? Okay, this is not what we want to hear. All right, Knoxville Police just sharing a release with us. This is information that we hate to have to share with you. Thank you, David Sykes. Okay, go ahead and do that. We're going to take a look really quick here at a comment from the State Education Commissioner as I read this news release. Oh, it's not there. I'm sorry. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, this is what we're learning from the Knoxville Police Department. A male subject who was possibly armed into school is what prompted police to respond to this situation. When police arrived and approached the subject, shots were fired. That KPA officer that we've been talking about was hit at least one time and taken to UT Medical Center. Again, you know this, with injuries that are not expected to be life-threatening. One male was pronounced dead at the scene, while another was detained for further investigation. So this has now become a fatal shooting at Austin East High School, according to Knoxville Police. There are no other known gunshot victims. So it sounds like at this hour we have one male dead at the scene, another detained for further questioning, and a Knoxville police officer who was shot but did not suffer life-threatening injuries. Again, I'm going to repeat this to you because this is information just coming into our newsroom that we want to make sure that we share with you accurately and that you hear this because this is a major development in this story. Knoxville police say that they responded to Austin East High School after receiving reports of a male subject armed in the school. As officers approached the subject, shots were fired. An officer hit at least once. One male pronounced dead at the scene. Another detained for further investigation. No other known gunshot victims. So it sounds like two people shot. The person who is dead on the scene and the officer who is expected to survive, suffered non-life-threatening injuries. At the scene there, it sounds like we've basically got ourselves an officer-involved shooting, and we've got to understand a little bit more about this situation. Was this male subject who was possibly armed in the school a student or somebody else? And so that's going to be the next phase of the investigation and the process of reporting information to you. That's something that we would like to learn as quickly as we can. Eric,
and I put that on my soul.
Shout out to everybody that joined the stream. I appreciate y'all. History Suspense. Mike Jones, Homie D Man, Sean Xander, Phenomenon and Plasma Barnes, Peanut 411, OG Perfect Sense, Spooky Press on Freedom, Medusa. Yeah, I appreciate y'all.
Listen, I'ma see it again. Losing in the options, so I gotta win again. Get your out the film, drop it, I'ma skin again.
Shout out to Sheila Rames at a school shooting in Knoxville, Tennessee. Shout out Oregon Road.
so bitch, I'ma wash up in it blood. Give 'em fuck the whole stick, that ain't got get it mud. Look, the city don't fit, how my stomach going up. My killers work they nose bitch, in the beat they throwing up. I tell my friends with rapping daddies who was throwing up. Back to show me stick and fuck through papers, I'm just showing up. I'm out and going up, I want to be retarded for them sneak niggas. I gotta eat, sick of being talking. Listen, Papa, talk to hold on, I'ma say it again. Losing any option, so I gotta win again. Catch an opportunity on top, then I'ma say it again. I think this problem with another soul can win. And I put that on my soul. On thrones in the high school. And that's on my soul. On thrones in the high school. Listen, Papa, talk to hold on, I'ma say it again. Losing any option, so I gotta win again. Catch an opportunity on top, then I'ma say it again. I take this fool and lift another fool up in the wind. And I put that on my soul. On thrones in the high school. And that's on my soul. On thrones in the high school. I ain't shit down lit, I'm a flower, so I'm dripping on the song.